guys to Firefall Live. I'm Phobos, joined with ThaCheez and FadedPez. As always, we've got a great show for you today. We're going to bring on Cameron Winston, one of our senior systems designers, to talk about the upcoming changes to progression. He's not going to go too much into crafting, which we'll try to do next week, but really the progression system is getting a major overhaul, so this will be a great interview to do. We've also going to announce the video winners. We're going to do You Even Art Bro? It's going to be a good show. So.
Oh, yes.
But to start off, I really just wanted to kind of go backwards a little bit to earlier this week. We announced our milestone plans, which for those of you that haven't read the forums or haven't read the blog, we posted up what we're working on this milestone for basically all the way through the end of March. That's the goal. Cross your fingers that everything works out. We've got a lot of different teams working on a lot of different things. We're going to be making some changes to progression system. We've already announced the PvP PvE split that Justin and his team is working on. We're going to have changes to crafting coming up, changes to Chosen Warfront, additional content in the open world, changes to Matchmaker, lots of different things. So be sure to check out the forums or the blog post about that, and feel free to give us any comments. Got a lot of stuff coming up, so it's going to be pretty awesome. Another couple things that are coming up. PAX by the end of this milestone, hopefully PAX East will be happening. We'll be going to PAX East.
It should be happening regardless.
Yeah.
Actually, I heard that PAX East won't run unless Firefall is done.
It hinges on our milestone.
It hinges on our milestone. They're going to push back PAX East in case our milestone doesn't. We're working it out.
That's really
with those
nice
guys.
of them.
Yeah, I know,
you know, they're really, they've always been a team worker, but this is like team worker?
Team worker.
Team worker.
Team player, team worker.
Wow.
Whatever.
We're just all over the place this morning.
That is on the internet.
So we're going to be going to PAX East just as a small team. We're not going to have a huge booth this year, but the entire community team's going to go for the U.S. community team. So that'll be Tony, Frank, myself, James Jones, who you guys haven't met yet, Maximus Painicus. Maximus Painicus, I guess you guys haven't met him. And then a new guy that hasn't started yet. So we're going to be all going out together. The marketing team will be going out along with, I think they're going to try to bring James and Scott or whoever to do some interviews, and that's going to be happening. But we're going to be doing a community event. We don't know where yet because we're trying to figure out how many people are going to go. So if you guys wouldn't mind heading to the forums, I posted a thread on there asking for RSVPs so that we can kind of figure out how many people are going to show up and figure out where we want to go. We're going to probably hang out at a bar somewhere close by the facilities near the Boston Convention Center.
It'll be within walking distance.
Hopefully.
There's a ton of bars there.
The other thing that's happening is at the show itself, we're going to be doing Firefall Live. At least we're going to attempt to.
We'll see how that goes.
This is going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult, but we're going to try to do a live Firefall Live. So if you want to be part of that audience and come to the show and maybe ask questions, do a little bit of interviews, RSVP for that as well, so we can get an idea. That will be a private event because we're also going to be doing some press interviews and things like that. So be sure to let us know if you're interested in coming to that so that you can be, a live Firefall Live.
That's right.
It's crazy, right?
That's right.
That's nuts.
Well, guys,
this is live, but that's like...
No, actually, this is pre-recorded. They just don't know, right?
Oh, right.
Oh, don't start that rumor.
Oh, God.
We recorded this last week.
Oh, wow. If we
I'm going to have to tweet
stuff.
pictures of like the iPhone, my watch, a newspaper, and like...
A newspaper.
I don't know, just you know how the people hold it up like this is...
What, have you been kidnapped? You don't really want to be here. You've just been kidnapped.
I'm just holding up a newspaper crying. This is live.
So let us know if you want to be there for that because that'll be a fun show.
That'll be cool.
And then we'll also have swag bags and stuff to give away. So be sure to let us know if you want to go. Both the community event, which will be public to everybody, but let us know if you want to go so we can kind of get an idea for space. And then the private event, we'll have more information on that. Probably towards the beginning of March, we'll announce how exactly you can get tickets to that so that we can kind of control how many people go. But those are both coming up. I mean, it's coming up quick, March 22nd.
Real fast.
So it'll be here before you know it, so keep your eyes out. Entropy Rising is asking about Australia. Right now, I've only got really 2 people going to Australia. That'll be myself and Frank.
Woo.
So we'll be heading to Australia to go to Melbourne. Which is my first time in Australia.
That'll be my first time in Australia.
So I think that'll be pretty cool. We can go check things out and do another meetup there. We won't have a booth or anything, but we'll check out PAX and we'll do a meetup and see how things are going. We'll be doing that kind of event throughout the year. I want to make sure that we're out there and trying to do as many shows as we can, at least as a community team. So we'll have some in Europe. We'll have some, the one in Australia, potentially some in Asia, depending on whether we're doing any shows out there. So definitely check it out. But for now, PAX East, let us know if you want to go to the community meetup.
Yes.
Our screenshots, the screenshots from the contest have been posted on Facebook.
Yeah, they are on Facebook. They're in their own like file. It says screenshot. Their own album file, whatever.
File.
I'm just switching words.
We're
for
all over the
popular
place.
Words, yeah. Their own album on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Firefall, and you can check it out. All the people that took the screenshots are in the comments in the pictures, so you can give them credit when you get back to the forums. And share the pictures. There's a really cool screenshots in there.
Yeah.
I have a few favorites, but they're all really good.
Yeah. And so we'll be doing that again for the next beta weekend. So start figuring out how you want to take your screenshots so that we can get even more cool screenshots. And I think we're going to do another video contest as well for the next beta weekend, which will hopefully be announced in a week or two about the dates and all the details on that. Speaking of which, I think we are ready to announce the winners of the video contest.
Yeah, so Tony, Matthias, and I basically locked ourselves in a cage.
It was intense.
It was intense.
There's oil involved, I
yeah,
heard.
yeah, it was great.
Oil.
We might have a video, I don't know.
I still have the scars.
Really, where? Oh.
I can't show them on live television.
Anyway, so there were some really tough decisions to be made.
Marjorie's puking in the back.
Yeah. Nice lady's puking.
She set down her knives to puke in a bin because she's imagining my hidden scars.
Anyway, so we went through. There's some really tough decisions.
Yeah.
One of my favorites we had to disqualify. Matt Kakuza, aka Ultimate Sage.
Yeah.
He had a really cool shot that was like a fadeaway, like he just fired off as he's like falling behind the sunken harbor base, and it just goes in and hits mid-air's another assault. It's really awesome, but I had to email him and say, "You work here."
Yeah.
Why
can't
do you?
win. And he responded
Our own
with, "This is
developers
horseshit."
were submitting shots, so we had to make sure to disqualify them. But it was an awesome shot. Maybe we'll
was
share
cool.
it later. But he
So-
did upload it to YouTube. You can check those out.
Let's check out our first winner, though. I think we have that video here. They're playing it.
Well, that was from Fuzzle, correct?
Yep,
Yes.
that was
And so
Fuzzle.
He won because he got the actual most likes.
Yeah,
Correct?
That's
Yes,
right. That's
you
correct.
got the most likes. Yeah.
So that is one thing that you guys, next time you submit your videos, make sure to advertise them so you can get likes. We basically picked one based on highest number of likes, and we picked the other based on
Our
votes.
decision.
We had Matthias, Frank, and I had to vote on our favorite, and
was
that was
brutal.
a battle.
It was
because
battle. 'cause
I had
we
a
were
favorite.
all on separate pages.
Yeah, we did. I had a favorite, Frank had a favorite, and Matthias had a favorite. And basically, Frank and I was like, Matthias, yours is not good. No.
We're just like,
no,
you have to
Matthias,
pick one of ours.
Yeah.
And then he picked his.
I just happened to debate the best. So you're welcome, Superior. I fought for you. Here you go.
Oh, spoilers.
I'm sorry. What? Here it
Spoilers.
is. What? They're about to watch it. Come on.
So we're actually going to talk about this.
Yeah,
one
apparently
since
there's no
this is
audio,
good.
but there is audio if you check it out on YouTube. This right here is just hilarious to me.
This is
Like, right here, this guy thinks he's cool, he's safe, he's trying to run around the cliff to get another shot off, and peace
Boom.
out. Good night.
good night.
That's, yeah, my claim to fame on the last trailer.
Thatch Butler. Oh, good night.
That was a pretty cool shot right there. Stop it.
This is cool.
That was a cool shot. I like the use of decoy here. It was pretty neat. Just kind of like picking off the poor engineer gazelle.
I mean, this is sweet. Look at that, right over the guardrail.
Can't you do anything but snipe?
Yeah.
I did like the people that made use of the replays and the slow-mo shots. I think that lended a little more quality and fun to
Look at this, in the air.
Come on.
Okay.
Look.
Come on.
They're both standing still.
I don't, bro, I don't care. It's funny. They're trying to revive their teammate, and they're like, "Oh, are you trying to revive your teammate? I'm sorry. Peace." Like, that's funny.
Yeah, the double headshot is good. I don't care if they're standing still or not. Just
Thank you.
Double headshot.
It's cool, but they were both just like sitting in a line feeding him that
You
shot.
would seriously, you would think that Frank and I like had money
That
on
was
this.
that
That's
was during the competition though. They weren't feeding him a shot. That was like
No,
during
that was
Exactly,
actually
yeah.
during a
bets
tournament.
or something.
Yeah,
that
a
was not
tournament.
staged at all. I
That-
don't mean that.
The stakes are even raised because it was in a tournament and he was able to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So congratulations, Superior and Fuzzle. You guys have won.
Yep.
And the screen. If you wanted to check out the screenshots again, they're on Facebook.com/Firefall in the album screenshot contest winners.
That's.
And so
Yes.
what are the video winners? What are they going to get?
We think they're gonna get swag.
They're gonna get swag. Oh yeah, there's a possibility of some kind of swag.
Maybe a hug.
Maybe.
I think they also got Razor gear for that one.
Did they?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they got Razor gear. Congratulations.
No, I'm being told no.
I'm pretty sure they get a swag bag
Oh,
and a
swag
hug.
bag.
This is getting
And-
hot in here.
Sorry, there's multiple contests going on right now.
I need my sweat
have-
rag for this one.
And Razor mice and mouse pad, according to
Yeah, I
Carrie.
thought they were getting.
Oh,
rid
there
of
we
the
go.
mouse
Thank
pad.
you, Carrie.
Yeah.
There we
Saving the
go.
day.
Trying to call me a liar, knife lady?
Wow.
Is that what you're trying to do? Call me a liar, knife lady?
Knife Lee.
Put the knife down.
Put the knife down.
Okay, I'm
Marjorie,
sorry.
Marjorie,
You're
whoa,
right.
whoa,
do that.
Chill.
Okay.
Whoa.
Okay. Moving on.
I mean,
Moving on.
Community news. What's happening in the community?
So the Melding Cast is, I confirmed with Rygen that they set to run that every other week.
What is the melding cast?
So the Melding Cast is like Rygen, Superior, and Sabasi get together and talk about the latest happenings of like development updates or what's happening in the game. So the last one they were talking about basically what we announced on Firefall Live and the milestone. No, the milestone plans didn't happen yet. So what we announced on Firefall Live with the PvP and PvE split. And Sabasi made a nice announcement. But yeah, the last one was pretty cool.
Made a nice announcement.
We made a
Moving
pretty
on,
cool
we're not gonna
announcement.
talk
We got
about that.
we got some new features coming in. A new community feature coming in. You know what it is? You know what it is?
no.
I don't.
It's Thunderdome. Check out the video.
Oh, yeah. You just had
That was very pleasant.
That's-
And then they missed that whole dialogue because they were watching the video like I queued.
okay. This is just so off track.
So, so yeah, Thunderdome.
Yeah, Thunderdome.
Seamless.
You guys are ass.
Seamless segue right there.
You guys are ridiculous.
What is Thunderdome?
I would if you
This
guys would
is
stop
Thunderdome.
it. See, this is what I'm talking about right here.
Yes.
3 men enter, 1 man leaves.
Oh, we gotta stop drinking before we film this.
So Thunderdome is a new feature brought to you by Limelight Esports. It's where 2 teams issue a challenge to each other and duke it out in a best of 3 series. And they're going to be doing like a pre-game show, like the best of 3 series, and then a post-game analysis as well as.
So this is
possibly
like
interviews.
private matches that 2 teams sign up,
Yep.
go to private matches, do best of 3.
Yep.
Just one off, prove who's the best, then leave.
Yep. It's Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. PST
Every week?
every week.
Awesome.
Starting
sounds cool.
on the 12th next week.
What Twitch channel can they watch it on?
They can probably watch it on Twitch TV/Limelight Esports.
Limelight Esports? Awesome.
Awesome.
Or
Why you
yeah, I think
copying me,
I'm pretty
bro?
sure I got that right. If not, I will get it. I'll get it properly written in the blog for you guys. We'll have the link and everything. So you can check them out at limelightesports.com or at Limelight Esport, no S.
Esport. Cool. That'll be pretty awesome because people can go head to head and actually challenge each other in public and then go for it. And I'm sure the more teams, the better. So They talk
Yeah.
about wanting to have a real mix of people and not have one team that's always fighting.
Yeah.
So definitely sign up. You're not, even if you lose, sign up again so that you can go up against somebody else, and we'll get a nice mixture of e-spurts going on.
E-spurts.
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 E-spurts. What else?
So we also have the 8-Bit Tavern
Smash.
Yep, the Smash and Bash, the Scanhammer PvP, which I played with them.
Do we actually know what date that's happening on? 'Cause it's
I'm pretty sure it's the
changed
weekend.
25 times.
It's the weekend before PAX East. I think it's March 17th.
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. But I was playing with them last week and then Nero was on there, and he was like, and Simbasi was on there, and we were trying to. I guess they're trying to figure out how they're going to shoutcast it still. So.
Okay.
It's still pretty cool, but
So Smash and Bash, March 16th and 17th.
Yep.
On 8-Bit Tavern's channel.
Yes.
Which those guys also do Friday Night Firefall every night.
Every Friday
Yeah.
at starting at 7 Eastern or 8 Eastern.
Yeah. Evening
Wow,
time.
I forgot.
Evening
It's
time.
5 Pacific, so 8 Eastern.
Yep.
Got it.
So check those guys out. They got a lot of stuff going on. If you have any community news for us that you want to share with the community, send it to community@red5studios.com or message us on the forums so we can pick it up and make sure to spread it out. Looks like tonight there won't be any Friday Night Firefall due to the snowstorm coming to kick our crap in. Well,
I'm
hopefully you guys
disappointed.
can bundle up together and
Whoa.
be warm.
What are you suggesting they do?
I don't know.
I'm very disappointed.
What do you do in the cold? Apparently. Here's to hoping I never get caught in a snowstorm with Matt. That's right.
Within 30 minutes, I'm going to get hungry. That's terrible. Anyways, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have Cameron Winston, a.k.a. Kaerbear, on the channel so that we can talk about upcoming progression changes. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everybody. Some pretty major changes have been happening to Firefall in the last few months. We've had classes swapped in and out, we've had a combat overhaul, and a total revamp of the crafting system. But the thing that's interesting me most right now is this idea of dynamic events they've been toying with. You see, it answers one of the very first questions we asked lead designer Mark Kern on the very first day we met. How do you get away from the standard MMO quests? You know the ones. Fetch, FedEx, grind. Epic hero, I'm in desperate need of 10 rat feet. Can you help me? We have done 1,000 of these across numerous MMOs. Heck, some of us have probably done several thousand. Now, while these quests are often an essential part of what gives MMOs their longevity, and I don't think we should break away from them completely, I think it's time for the next step. Time to do something different. After all, most avid MMO players will recognize all these quest types from the MUDs way back in the 1980s. So what is the next step? How can we retain that goal-driven, always something to do nature of MMOs, while making that something to do more interesting? Well, the approach Firefall is taking seems twofold. It's a technical shift, but also a philosophical one. On the technical side, they're implementing something they call dynamic events. These are events that aren't simply placed in the world. They're triggered by a combination of player patterns and a dynamic AI. So imagine if an MMO had Left 4 Dead's AI director. That's basically what they're going for. It places events, rearranges enemy spawns, and in general simply makes things more dynamic in response to how players play. This opens up whole new doors on how alive we can make an MMO world feel. Guild Wars 2 recently introduced situational events, which are a fantastic evolution of the classic MMO quest model, but in some ways they're still static. They really add to the feel of the world and give a vibrant, living sense to the place you're playing in, but it's still a rigidly prearranged system under the hood. The second or third time you play through any given zone, the quest patterns become very obvious and game-like. It's still a huge step forward, don't get me wrong, but how much more compelling could we make these events if they were truly responsive? If we could add these world events not based on set triggers, but rather on the subtle shifts of player behavior as understood by an overarching AI. You can kind of think of it as a scaled-back dungeon master, creating a tale that's more compelling than a linear series of events. How cool would that be to have a DM, even in an extremely limited form for your MMO? Now, before I get carried away though, let me take a quick step back. I'm aware that we might be upselling this feature a bit. We've only seen bits and pieces of the dynamic event system so far, and heard the team's plans for what they intend it to be, and if you ask me, it's likely to be far from perfect at launch. No one gets a system that complex perfect right out of the gate. No, as with many of Firefall's features, we're excited about the possibilities, about what might happen if they knock this out of the park, and what it'll mean for MMOs in the future. I've said it before in previous videos, but one of the main reasons we're doing this little series is because we're impressed by the risks Red 5 has been willing to take, that they're even attempting things like this, things that have never been pulled off before. They're really reaching for the sky here, and maybe they'll just end up falling flat on their face. Or maybe they'll actually succeed. Either way, we're just excited that they're trying it. So take everything we say here with a grain of salt, because this system probably won't feel like a dungeon master even in a limited capacity right away. But if they keep iterating on it and refining the system, what if it eventually does? That would just... There was something else I was supposed to... Oh, right. There's also the philosophical shift to talk about. For the longest time, MMO design has largely been about actions occurring within a space. The design focus was on placing these actions within that space. Quests occur at specific locations. Monsters spawn here, 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 and here at specific points in the world. No one really considers the possibility of events happening in time. And this is because if an NPC only gave a quest at 8 a.m. world time, well, that would just be annoying. But what if we thought about time in a different way? If we thought about it in terms of the time you spend between when you log in and when you log out? What if we thought of events unfolding around you as you play, unfolding in your time? This would help us create a much better interest curve for MMOs, and get away from the idea of the town quest hub, where you arrive, gather 20 different quests, wander outside to complete them, check everything off the to-do list, go back to town and turn them in. Imagine if there was something like a D&D table of random events that would be rolled for your character periodically as you played, to make sure that even no 2 sessions of grinding would be the same. That's the idea behind time-based dynamic events. Put those two together, and then allow event outcomes to change based on how they're completed, and you have a potentially awesome system that'll let designers break away from the classic questing model and deliver something much more dynamic. In this system, the game world isn't just something for the player to act on, but rather something which they're a part of, something which acts on them. So yeah, it's a lofty goal, but even if the end result doesn't quite live up to Red 5's ambitions, it'll still be a big step toward creating a living world like we've always wanted in an MMO. Thanks for watching.
Welcome back to Firefall Live. We've kicked Tony off the set so that he can bug you guys in chat. But we were also joined now by Cameron Winston, aka Kaerbear. I mean, do you pronounce it Kaerbear or do you pronounce it like Kaerbear?
What is wrong with you?
What is wrong with me?
Not you, him.
Rearrange the E and the A.
I mean, they said Kaerbear. I mean, the way I got the name was because people in my guild said I was being too nice, and that's kind of where it came from.
They don't know you very well, do
Well,
they?
no, I mean that's the thing. Like, nice is a relative scale. So I mean, you know, you can be nicer than the people around you and still be a Kaerbear, I guess. Well, I mean, theoretically.
So tell us, what do you do at Red 5?
So I'm a senior systems designer, which is a version of a game designer, and basically, what a systems designer is I design ways of thinking about things and doing things, which is kind of like game rules and sets. So the primary job is to kind of imagine ways in which the game progresses, why games are fun, you know, progression models, stuff like that falls under systems design.
Okay. How did you get into becoming a designer? What was the impetus in the start?
So I used to work in Wall Street in finances, and I didn't like my job really that much because I spent a lot of time playing games. Especially I played World of Warcraft, I played a lot of Dota, and I had my friend my friends over a lot, and especially my wife's brother, and he worked as a programmer in the games industry, and he came over and he would ask me about Dota a lot, and we'd talk about it. And one day he just said to me, you know, you really are pretty articulate talking about this game. Have you ever considered a career in game design? And I said, no, I mean, I'm not a programmer, because I didn't know any better. And, you know, didn't think anything of it. But then, you know, when the markets collapsed in '08, which I was directly responsible for,
Yeah.
I decided to reevaluate my life and what was important to me. And I said, you know, what if you have to start your life over again? Like, what's the most amazing thing that you could do? And I was like, I'd make video games. And so I just decided to make that happen. I kept working on it. And luckily, someone I knew in my WoW guild was working for Bioware at the time. And I got my start in the entry level in QA, and that's how I began.
So you started out in QA.
Yeah.
Was this for SWTOR?
Yeah,
or?
for Star Wars: The Old Republic. I started off in QA, and after a couple of years, I was working in design.
That's pretty amazing for just a couple of years in QA.
Yeah, well, I was a combination of great opportunities, great luck, and amazing people to teach me things. I mean, like there was a couple of really great people, specifically who I will protect their anonymity from this live broadcast, but that I learned a lot from, and I wouldn't be anywhere without them. So I feel very lucky and blessed to be able to be doing this.
Well, so I will say that this is the more common way that people get into the industry that I found than our previous guests who have gone to school for it, et cetera, is purely just knowing somebody.
Yep.
Just by having that network and knowing somebody to get in the industry, being able to circumvent the normal rigorous resume process. And I mean, most companies don't even hire from straight up resumes. You have to be recruited or you know somebody and you got your foot in the door.
Well, what was amazing to me, which I didn't know before joining the industry, and especially like when my friend was like having me tailor my resume, and I was like, this is what I used to do. I worked at all these banks, I did these things, and he's like, nobody cares about the Federal Reserve auction anymore. You should just take that off your resume. You know, nobody cares about, you know, all the different stuff you did. It's like they care about the games you played. So put your guild experience down there. You know, you guys were Horde First Nefarian. Put that down. You know, you help on the Dota community. You're a moderator for the forums. Put that down. And that never occurred to me to like put that kind of stuff on my resume. But then I did, and they're like, oh, this guy totally plays games. And then it turned out when they were asking, we have arguments with people and they're looking for legitimacy in your arguments, and you say, did you play Dark Age of Camelot? Did you play EverQuest? Did you play, Neocron? Did you play all these games? And you're like, yeah, I played it. Turns out that's actually a valuable skill. Like nobody told me that when I was playing games, but apparently that actually is good. And so, if you wanted to make games or work in games, my definite advice would be keep playing games, because playing games is like your vocabulary. Like if you wanted to be a writer, you have to read a lot of books, right? I mean, it's the same thing, and that's how you meet game developers, because it turns out we love playing games too. It's why we do it.
And so before Red 5, you went from QA to design on SWTOR.
Yeah.
Are you allowed to say what you worked on?
Yeah, I worked on, I supported class design. I did a bunch of the visuals for the classes. I helped do design validation of the lead class designers, helping with his work on the vision of the classes. I'm also, the one thing I'm directly responsible for, a million things that players experience but will never know was me. But the thing that I did is I did all the large creature encounters. We called them super bosses. I did stuff like the Nightmare Pilgrim and all that kind of stuff.
I'm reading chat real quick to see if anybody's like, Cameron, he sucks.
There's a video on it. Well, I talked to the community a bunch. Like if you read the forums at all over the last couple of years, that's me. I'm the same Cameron Winston. I met people at PAX East. So if you've been to PAX East the last couple of years, like I did a couple Q&As there. And yeah. So
K-Tab doesn't like you.
I know K-Tab doesn't like you. Yeah, it's fine.
No, I'm not plotting to kill him.
You started at Red 5 about almost a year ago now?
No, I started in September, which is like a year, except
that is a year in game development.
Yeah,
time.
it is. It is.
Yeah.
It's like dog years.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So it's like I already have a gold watch.
That's great.
Yeah, it was pretty great.
Yeah.
After 2 weeks,
you're ready to retire.
Yeah, you're ready to retire, but if we'd like it if you could work another 30 years. I said no problem.
So you started in September. You kind of, for a long time, we hired a big group of designers with that same time period.
Yeah.
And you guys were all kind of learning the systems and learning everything. And now it seems like you're getting into your first real big system to dive into. And what is that?
There's a lot of extremely talented people making an amazing shooting experience. So like that was kind of not where my focus was. I mean, for me, it was like, looking at this game and saying, hey, we have this great open PvE environment, and we wanted to do it. And I played the game and I gave feedback. And the thing that I was asked to think about was, playing in the open world, the sort of progression experience. Like, how can we make the progression experience better? How can we make it more sticky? How can we make it more engaging? And it's really easy to just go to the community and find out what they're thinking. So it's like, what are the problems with the things? How could we be better in certain areas? And so I thought about those things, and we wanted, players wanted more choice. They wanted their choices to have a little bit more meaning. They wanted to have that meaningful, relevant kind of progression experience in a game that already has amazing combat, amazing PvP. So I was thinking about ways to improve on that system and kind of flesh it out a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. So what is it?
So what is it?
Big announcement.
Big announcement. So as everyone knows, and hopefully this is, we were doing the PvP, PvE split thing, right? We announced that. So that's actually one of the greatest things that's happened to, I think, PvE in a long time. And the reason is because it now kind of opens us up to allow for more meaningful player progression. Because before, we always had to worry about, hey, we have to make sure that, how do new players and experienced players work together in this really kind of PvP environment. But now we can say, well, what if we had this kind of more interesting open progression that doesn't necessarily directly affect the esports style PvP? And so with that, we have a new progression system, which I'm really excited to talk about. And basically comes with the first major problem we're trying to address, which is we have these 3 constraints right now. that don't necessarily have a lot of relevance to players. Players say, my constraints don't matter, they're just 3 numbers. So the first thing we want to do is we're going to bring meaning to the constraints. And the way that I wanted to do that is to give a little gameplay flavor to each of the 3 constraints. We have weight, power, and CPU right now, which we're going to continue, but we're going to rebrand weight as mass. And that's because we definitely have long-term plans to start talking about things like building tanks and building, army buildings, stuff like that. And I think it just makes more sense for things to kind of be talked about in terms of mass than weight. Mass is going to be affecting your speed. So you're going to be able to customize your mass within a certain range, and depending on where you are in that range, you're going to be able to either move a little bit faster or a little bit slower. So it's going to be kind of also different from just being able to move faster or slower with servos. You're going to be able to just have your whole mass affect your speed. The second stat, being power, will affect how much damage you do and how much effective your abilities are in certain ways. So having more power will make you more effective, and less power will be a little bit less effective. And finally, we'll have CPU, which we're going to be rebranding as cores. And the concept being you assign CPU cores to your gear and your abilities, which is going to affect how heavy and how much power they take. So the cool thing about this is, in looking at it from a system standpoint, there's really kind of 2 things that occur in an FPS game that we can kind of use math to describe. The first is survivability, and the second is kind of damage. So really, either players are dealing damage or they're taking damage or not taking damage. And things can be viewed as subsets of those groups. Like, for example, movement speed is a subset of survivability because not being hit is a form of survivability.
Hang on 1 second. Somebody's ringing the doorbell like crazy.
You can hear that?
How do you hear that?
I'm like a dog.
How do you
Jesus.
hear that?
Yeah.
Did not know our doorbell was a dog whistle.
Yep. Anyways, continue.
So yeah, no problem. So basically, movement speed is a facet of survivability, right? So how fast you move affects how fast, how much you get hit, especially in a first-person shooter game. When we're talking about things like jump speed or jump height, also just straight-up hit points, regeneration, that's all facets of survivability. So all those things are going to be kind of tied to the mass stat. Power is going to be your damage, so you're talking about how much damage you do, how fast you shoot, what's your uptime, how fast your projectiles move, things like that affect how effectively you can deliver damage. Those are all going to be subset of power. And with CPU, we're going to basically make that stat shrink a lot. So rather than being this giant number like 10,000, we're going to make it discrete. Smaller number, and I think that cores is going to be a little bit easier for people to understand than what we have currently with the milliliters, because cores, like, people have multi-core processors. They're going to kind of understand a little bit more about assigning cores to things, and I think it'll feel very cool to basically say, you have this many cores, you can assign this many cores to a process, and the point of CPU is going to be to allow you to put more power and mass in certain things. So the overall effect of the system is you're going to be able to, with integration into crafting, which we're not going to go quite into this time, you're going to be able to alter your gear in such ways so that you're going to be able to increase your survivability and power in specific ways, which is going to have very real gameplay effects on your frame. And you're going to be able to have kind of CPU cores as a wild card to allow you to customize a little bit more. And the reason we can do all this is because of the PvP-PvE split. So in the progression system that's coming online, players are going to have little kind of we haven't really decided exactly the form it's going to take yet, but there's going to be progression tracks as far as the ways to improve your CPU, ways to improve your mass, ways to improve your power. And the crafting system is going to allow players to customize items. So we're basically kind of, right now we have the crafting system and the progression system are sort of mashed together in one screen. They're like one system. We're separating them out. So you're going to be able to craft items, and you're going to be able to progress your frame. So as you push your frame's constraints down one track, you're going to have all these ways to craft items in another track, and the game will be basically, what items do I want to craft, where am I in the progression, how do I push this together. And the hope is that it'll create a really dynamic and interesting experience that players will be able to experiment with and expand. So you'll be able to expand where you are, how much available space you have to craft in by progressing your battle frame. And you'll be able to expand the kinds of things you want to craft and how you want to craft them by exploring the crafting system. So it's really exciting.
So when this was first presented as a complete overhaul to the progression system, and then you presented it to Frank and I separately,
Mm-hmm.
we really learned that it's not a total change to the progression system. It's
No.
taking what's currently there and iterating upon it, so that instead of the designers determining you have these constraints, these limitations, the players are really determining what their constraints and their limitations are through this progression model.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So basically, right now, the gameplay experience is you make like a battle frame, and then you progress that battle frame through a tree. When you get to the end of the tree, you unlock a new battle frame, and then you progress that one. And the crafting and progression is the same thing. Like if you unlock a new gun, you make the gun, you equip the gun, you're done. Like hey, I made this gun, it's cool. And one of the things that we heard from players is, hey, there's some things in this tree that isn't very exciting to me. Hey, there's parts of this tree that isn't relevant to me. Or hey, I don't want to have to unlock this one frame so I can unlock another one. This one's not as relevant to me. So we're reacting to those points of feedback and saying, okay, how can we improve this experience? And so the idea is to create like a sandbox environment for players to kind of customize their own personal frame experience. So that way, when you go to play a Bastion and you're like, what does a Bastion mean? It's like, well, Bastion is these weapons and these abilities. And you say, okay, what does progression mean now for this Bastion? Well, you have constraints, which allows you to craft your experience. But you're not going to have a ton of constraints when you first start. So you're going to have to push those constraints kind of and make them bigger. And you're going to be able to craft gear. And I don't know how many of you guys have been reading the thread, but what is your favorite crafting system? A lot of you said Star Wars Galaxies. A lot of you said EVE Online. A lot of you said games like that. A couple of people said RuneScape, which was a little weird, but props RuneScape. So just to answer the question, where is the heavily inspiration for this kind of system? Yes, it is inspired from games like Star Wars Galaxies. It is inspired from games like EVE Online. We want to have crafting that basically is extremely meaningful. We want to have basically players able to make a frame. Say, how do I want to customize this frame? How do I want to make things? We want resources to have this value to players when you go out there and you put stuff together and you're really excited about getting a little bit more power, a little bit more mass. And I feel that in this new system, players are really going to have the opportunity to explore that. And as the weeks go on and we start releasing more details, I think people are going to get a lot more excited about it.
And that is a good point, is that the details we're talking about right now are kind of high level.
Yeah.
We plan to do blogs over the course of the next 6 weeks to really, both for crafting and for progression, to really help explain this entire system, because it is going to affect the changes to the game, and we want to make sure you guys understand those in full details. One of the things that you did say that I kind of want to go back on, because I think it's an important thing to get across, is that currently in the system, you unlock a tier, you unlock this tree that's designed by a designer, and you have these things, and then you unlock another battle frame. This new system, it doesn't work that way.
Right, and that's, if you read my thread, that was the thing I'm really excited about. So right now, like I said, if I want to play a Bastion, I got to play through Engineer Tier 1, finish it out, and then I play my Bastion. Or if I want to play, asterisk frames, same thing. Now what I'm going to be able to do is, you're playing Firefall, and we're going to be releasing all these frames. You're going to be able to pick whichever frame you want and progress into that and play that frame. And the really exciting thing is we're going to start releasing new frames on a sort of on a certain cadence. We haven't decided how fast it's going to be yet, but the gameplay experience is going to change based on which frame you play. And all the frames are going to have more personality to them. So, that way each frame is going to have a specific thing that it's really good at. It's going to have specific ways in which it plays. And you're going to be able to use the crafting and progression system to really push what that frame is capable of. But when you're, if you're tired of that particular play style, you just go into a different frame and play that. And it's going to be a lot more accessible for players to get into the system. And it's going to be a lot faster to kind of figure out hey, is this play style for me? But there's still going to be those long-term goals for players that really want to push what their frame is capable of. So I think it'll be a really good blend of players being able to get into the system, start playing very quickly, start really enjoying the play styles, figuring out which one is for them, and also just, oh man, I really love a Bastion, I'm going to just push this really far.
So on that point, there's a lot of discussion happening in chat right now about horizontal versus vertical progression. The original goal of the tier system was to really kind of spread out that vertical progression across multiple tiers. with this now, with not being a tier system anymore, what's happening to vertical progression versus horizontal progression?
So the goal of the system is, player feedback obviously is overwhelming for the horizontal kind of model for progression. So we didn't want to do a very deep vertical progression system, which is the traditional MMO style where it's get to this level, progress this new zone, deprecated content. So what we wanted to do is keep the feel of the game extremely horizontal. So I would say the progression is vertical in the sense that it's going to be more like a heartbeat, if that makes sense. So there's going to be a range of progression where it's like this is the end of progression, this is the newbie experience, and this is going to be tightly controlled, but you're going to be able to experience that through every frame that you play. So therefore, there'll be a really deep and meaningful progression within the frame, but the maximum power of like how much a person can be more powerful than a starting player will be very kind of tightly controlled going down, which is what we have right now. What we're doing is we're just taking that kind of the concept of tiers and the concept of battle frames, expanding through tiers and sort of saying, what if instead of tiers we had the concept of just battle frames, and just battle frames were the way in which players experience Firefall. And that way players get to say, I want to be a Bastion, I want to be a Mammoth, I want to be a Firecat. You just pick the kind of frame that suits your play style, and you progress through these frames, and then we release more frames. So therefore, players continuously get to experience Firefall in a new and exciting way. They're continuously able to customize their Firefall playing experience, and we're continuously improving and developing the Firefall play experience as time goes on.
And that works great with the PvP PvE split, because as we add a new battle frame that has this unique customization, that creates a separate instance of that with the 3 abilities and the specialized weapon and the specialized passive abilities already built into the system, so that immediately you can start playing with it in PvP.
Exactly. So you got your new frame and you're like, this is exciting. You go into PvP, you play it, it's already like kind of the way it's supposed to be, and then you're like, oh, this is great, I love this. You go into PvE, and now you're doing thumpers, you're doing missions, you're getting resources, you're earning experience, and then you're using those resources and experience to improve your character. One of the core things that is going to be exciting about the new progression system is there's going to be kind of like imagine whatever the model is as far as how you progress down it. The first half of it's going to be purely experience. So you're going to be able to progress your frame just with experience. You're going to go about halfway done, and that's when the real kind of the meat of the customization is going to come in. So players will be able to get about halfway through and figure out, I love this frame. This is really for me. Fairly quickly. You're going to be able to figure out if a gameplay style fits you very fast, and it'll be very rewarding and fun, and you'll have all the components you need. So there won't be like some ability that you don't have, and you want to make sure that I don't know if I'm going to like this or not. You'll know, and then that's when you'll be able to decide, do I want to play other frames? Do I want to keep pushing this one? And so it'll be a very exciting way to kind of like expand the sandbox that you get to play in until it gets to as big as it can be. And once it's that big, you now have the ability to continue to push down through the crafting system, or you can continue other frames and sort of expand your repertoire of what you're capable of. So, I mean, it's kind of like expanding on what the community wanted as far as, the continuance of horizontal progression, expanding the sort of sandbox element of player customization, and also just sort of pushing the envelope down the line as we release new content and new frames.
It's awesome.
So one thing I wanted to bring up that was brought up in chat. So someone was like, no, tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3, because like the big question in beta right now is like, when's tier 3, right? But it's like now it's like we're not. Just to clarify, we're not releasing it as tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, tier 5. It's now like you get those battle frames, but it's more horizontal. Like we just basically took the tiers and went like this, and they just went out that way.
So imagine it not like tiers; it's just frames. It's like you log in and you're like, okay, I'm currently in an Accord tier 1 assault, which is what we have right now, and you're just like, and you go, well, what frame could I be? Bam, every frame. Well, which one do you want? Well, I mean, this one costs this one costs that, maybe whatever Chris and I would have to unlock, and then you unlock it, and now you're playing it. So it's not like it's just basically you get to play Firefall with the frame you want to play, and each frame has its own particular gameplay style, and we're going to release new frames. So the gameplay experience that you can have in Firefall, and there's really exciting things coming with frames that I probably don't want to talk about right now, but it's very exciting. It's like some of the things that are coming down the line, and you're going to be able to experience some of these gameplay. I can't even talk. You're going to experience different kinds of gameplay in Firefall in the way that kind of works for you, and progress it the way that works for you. And crafting will have a lot more meaning, in how how you actually play the game and what it does for you, because we actually have that option now, because you can grow a lot more in PvE environments because NPCs don't care if you're overpowered. To them, you just kill them.
Right.
So.
Well, so there's tons and tons of great questions happening in the chat right now. However, a lot of these are kind of going into more and more details that we don't really want to answer just yet because this process has just started.
Yes.
Just gotten into, everybody's approved the design. Now you're actually starting to implement the design, which will then obviously take some iteration time and figuring out where the problems might sit.
Yeah.
So for right now, we're not going to answer any more questions coming about this. We do plan to write a blog that's hopefully the next couple weeks to go into more details about what's happening, and then maybe we can do another interview to talk about any questions the community has regarding that. But I think for now, that's a great overview of what was coming. I really appreciate you stopping by the show and letting us know what's happening. And I think the community has some things to talk about now, definitely.
Certainly.
They're already going a little crazy about it. So,
well, if players have certain questions that they want to post on the thread that I made on the forums, like obviously I won't be able to specifically address certain things, but I might be able to assuage. I saw some people saying XP wipe. Remember, we're not wiping experience. We said that.
right. XP is still associated with each battle frame
Yes.
individually. So within that battle frame, you earn XP and you'll spend that XP.
Yeah, you'll spend experience and resources to improve your frame, both in crafting and progression. So
it's pretty much, that still works pretty much the same. So all the XP will be saved over and you'll get it back.
Awesome.
Well, great. I think we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll have
Jazz hands.
Jazz hands. Oh, good job. You might want to switch to that camera and then do it.
I was looking at that camera.
Well, but the camera wasn't on. You got to look
I
for
gotta
the light.
look at the other
Yeah,
camera.
see?
There you go. Now you can do it to that camera.
Jazz hands.
Do it.
There you go.
There you go.
There you guys go. Now
Jazz
you got
hands.
jazz hands. James
Today
McCall.
we're
you can-
celebrating Firefall Fest for the next week. So 6 hours of Firefall for the next 6 days. It's pretty crazy.
So Firefall Fest just started today.
I think everybody's just super excited about how fast everything kind of came together. Literally a week ago, we didn't have any of this stage here.
So we have 4 different cameras on the multiple sets. We have 4 different inputs from the different PCs, and we are rolling videos and cutting between the different cameras.
I'm really excited that new eyes are going to be on the game. People who have never heard of us before are going to be experiencing something totally new for the first time.
It's really the mechanic of flying and shooting and pointing.
Yeah,
it's very new.
That's hard.
Whenever you're live, you're just trying not to swear and offend people and get in trouble. And we were just playing games for 3 hours. So actually, they were like, "Hey, you need to get up and go get a break during the community parts." And I was like, "No, I'm finishing this match." So that was pretty fun.
I made a bunch of new enemies today. People I plan on killing in their sleep.
Yeah, hexing. We owe a lot of people revenge.
It's just when you're live and something goes wrong, trying to figure it out. Like if there's a buzz on the sound line, that's the most stressful part, is because you know that there's thousands of people watching you screw up, but you're trying to get it back.
Going to be running on Red Bulls for a little bit longer.
The gamer tag, which I will be now using, Galactic Commander McBadass.
And what is your new name?
It is Suck It Fillion.
Whoa! That's kind of sexy.
Biggest challenge of the stream is probably paying attention and being a part of the conversation while playing the game, because the game's so addicting and fun that I just wanted to focus on the screen. And then everyone else is like talking over to my left, and I'm like, oh yeah, and I'm being entertaining, and I'm playing, and I'm dying, and why?
There's this fly that keeps landing on my face, and I really wish it would just die.
There it is. There it is. It's on.
There it is. It's on James. Hit James. Hit
Right
James.
above your head. Right above your head. Oh god. It's still above your head.
Tough getting used to a new game, just getting used to the feel of it, getting used to the motion. But when we got into the team deathmatch, that's when I finally started to get into my jam, so to speak.
Welcome to the crypt, the game crypt.
Hi, my name is Sean. My favorite animal is the penguin.
This part, like, basically his crotch goes, like, on top of that. Yeah, okay, yeah, and I think actually this probably does go over your head, like that.
This is really difficult. I didn't expect such a challenge.
and I think a lot of the viewers at home were confused, which is all I could hope for.
I am happy to never have to wear Nightmare Before Christmas toddler-sized small shirts ever again. So, and I don't know what this is, but I will never wear this again.
I was not planning on taking my shirt off today. It is now gone. I do not know where it is. That sucks.
The most challenging part of the stream today was probably Tony's constant sweating was a distraction. It made it hard to focus on the game.
I'm a melting hot mess.
No.
I've got sweat-proof makeup on, which is...
We're hoping it works.
I don't think it's going to.
I think it's going to.
I'm up for the challenge. I warned you. I'm dual wielding my sweat rags right now.
Firefall Fest was a total blast. It was a huge success. We had a lot of support from our community, and we also invited in many thousands of new people to come check out Firefall, and that's really what this was all about.
All right. Do you feel pretty?
I feel like a princess.
Welcome back to Firefall Live. Thank you, Cameron, for joining us on the set. There's a lot of details to go over with the progression system and crafting system. We hope to release more and more of that as the weeks go on. I think we're going to try next week to talk about crafting, so we can get maybe Cuckoo's on here to talk about that. It'd be interesting. But
He
I
can
think
shake his fist at me.
I think that's pretty much what we're going to cover. We're not going to do our normal discussion topic because Cameron kind of went really long into that. Yeah. And I think that's a much better discussion topic anyways. So I think we're going to jump right into our favorite segment, which is...
Do you even art, bro? Hey! Do you even art, bro? I can't get enough of watching that graphic. I love it so much.
It's amazing.
Yes. Okay, so this week for Do You Even Art, Bro, we've got some pretty good submissions. I mean,
pretty good.
This week is the talent is stacked this week. I think
it is.
I really do think.
Yeah, it is actually.
It really kind of is. Okay,
I like 'em.
So for our first submission, and again, this is the second week for February. We'll have 2 more weeks, and then at the end of February, all of the weekly winners will be entered into the grand prize for the signed poster. And last week, Terracon, your poster got sent out, so you should be receiving that sometime either this weekend, hopefully.
Soon. Take a drink.
It's yes. Firefall Live.
Oh wait, it's only what you say.
We're getting you drunk. Okay.
Can I announce the exact date of the patch?
Ooh. What?
Just kidding. I don't want you guys to die.
Are you just gonna tease them with that?
If I do announce it, they have to drink a bottle.
You're like, oh, should I announce the exact date? And then be like, no. Wow. Oh man, they're pissed. Okay. So here we go.
Anyway.
I'm all right. Here we go. Do You Even Art, Bro? The first submission is the Arana. Yes, it's from Laser Reaper. It's kind of like
this is a suggestion for a new explosive round.
Yes,
type.
new explosive. Yeah.
So they give it a little more like bulbous. thing.
A bulbous bouffant. That's a word.
Bouffant.
Bulbous bouffant. I think it's like in a song or something. It's
sure.
So that makes it a word.
It is
because it's in a song. People don't make words up in song.
It is bulbous bouffant. What song is it in? Tell me.
That's like
no, that's not
totally. Those are all words.
Scatting. It's not scatting. It's a word. Someone tell me. Anyway. Here we go. It's from Laser Reaper. I really like the colors here.
I think it's a cool idea. I would love if those guys had like big flame balls on their backs. And
never mind. Yeah, I think it's really cool looking.
I think it'd be cool.
Always going dirty.
Yeah.
Cameron started it.
Okay, here we go. So next up, we have got the Shootout.
The Shootout
by Arxz.
Arxz.
ARCSZ. Arxz. Love this.
This is really cool.
She's like falling down. She's like flying through the air. I would love to see the scene like right after this as she's shooting to like come down and like kick her body into the ground. You know what I mean? It looks like she's like warming up her right leg. This is
so violent. She's like going up and she's falling down.
Yeah.
Well, maybe she jumped to like yeah, bam.
I actually think the biotech will win that fight.
Dual martial arts. What?
No, she's falling into a healing pillar.
That's right. You're gonna get right back up.
You guys spoiled
anyway.
all my fun.
No, I think this is really well done. I like that it takes place in TransHub.
I think it's beautiful art.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really cool.
It's really cool.
Okay, so next up we have got this. This might be the most creative we've seen. I really like this idea. It's a Firefall trading card game by Funi. Excuse my.
You okay? You okay? Do you need a break?
I had a little gassiness coming out of my.
Appreciate sharing.
Mouth.
Yeah.
I mean,
Jesus.
obviously that's what was happening. I was burping. I'm sorry. I was trying to hide it, and I thought I did an okay job of it. Clearly, I did not. So I really like this idea. I feel like it could even work. I would like to play this game. It's pretty cool. What do you guys think?
I love to play a Firefall card game as well. You know, Dave Williams made Legend of the Five Rings card game. We should get him to make a card game.
We should.
Yeah, we should.
Were you raised in a barn?
I'm sorry. I just got so comfortable thinking about
You know that's a catch-22.
Yes.
That's a damned if you do, damned if you don't question. Regardless.
Anyway, moving on.
This is cool.
What are you talking about? Okay,
What?
so next, what?
Nothing.
Next up, you will really enjoy this.
Oh, will I?
Is it?
Yes. This is by Copacabana Express. If you have seen the video Copacabana Express, this is What the Firefall. They feature Phobos in pretty princess attire, dancing around the screen. It's very funny. It's great. It just hobbles. It's very cute. So this one is really funny. I mean, did you just?
They could at least make me smile.
I almost like that you're not smiling.
I'm just so
The fact that you're just
the
like,
green,
I'm a princess, deal with it.
Deal with it.
I would totally not have blue eyeliner, mascara.
Blue eyeliner with green cheek powder.
Yeah.
Yeah. Green blush.
That totally clashes with my skin tone.
It does. It does. I'm gonna stop talking and thinking about your skin tone, and let's vote. So, which one was your guys' favorite? The Arana, the Shootout, the Firefall trading card game, or Princess Phobos? I'm going for the Shootout. I think the trading card game was a close second for me because of how creative it was, but I think I really, really like the artwork in the Shootout.
You made it very difficult.
I'm
you
telling
made it very difficult this
week was stacked.
Or you guys made it difficult this week, whatever. But yes, I will have to go with the Shootout as well.
The Shootout?
Yes.
You guys tell me what you guys want.
Oh.
I'm torn by a couple of them, so you guys tell me what you want.
This is the first community
Give it like
vote.
10 seconds to see if there's any consensus.
I think they just
I'm
want to
reading
drink.
like 4 shootouts here. Shootout.
Rana. I do like the TCG. I think the TCG should continue making that. Make cards up and let's make a game out of that.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like Shootout.
Yeah.
And I would agree. Shootout was one of my top choices. I think the Shootout looks amazing. It's great art. It's beautifully done. So
yeah. And that's 2 drinks, if you're keeping track.
Oh, 2 drinks.
Well, he put his feet on the table twice. That's 2 more drinks.
Damn.
I did. I just did it now. I don't know if the camera caught it, but there you go.
3 drinks.
3 drinks. Everyone's getting drunk. Okay, so the ARCs, you have won. Congratulations. Great artwork again.
Fantastic.
Yeah, you're going to go up against the other winners, up against, who won last week? I can't even remember. You're going to go up against the
Federvogel?
Yeah, there you go. Federvogel for the Thus Thou Even Sculpt, brethren. So you're going to go up against them at the end of February, and we'll pick the winner because the community is going to vote on it through the forums, and the winner gets a signed poster by the art team.
And I think that'll do it for us for Firefall Live. Really great show. Thank you, Cameron, again for joining us. Thanks everybody for watching. If you have news for us, be sure to send it to community@red5studios.com. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Firefall, or on Twitter @Red5Studios. And we'll be back next week. So have a great week. Talk to you guys later. Be sure to hop on the game right now. They're playing Harvester. Want to do some Harvester, hop on the game right now. Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.